should be going live. There we go. A little minute or two early, but everything seems to be working. I don't know why this won't stay in. There it is. And we'll see if someone pops in. I'm in the white chair. It's nice. Oh, it leans back too far, so now I'm not going to be able to lean back in it. We'll see how it feels. Hey, Jax. Didn't take you long. Nobody's joined us. You joined us. Jax's first one in. Yes, you are, buddy. Do we need to make you a little place? Come on. Come here, bud. Come on. Hey. Good boy. So, nobody's joined us. Hey, Rocky. Okay. Yeah, yes. I know. Hey. Everybody calm down. Hey, how's it going? Okay. Yes, Rock. Okay, that's enough. Nobody needs to hear your noises. Yes. All right. So here we are, Friday. And I hear Dexter's up. Yep. So all the dogs making noise. It's just the two of us. All three of us. Four of us. Okay. Afternoon, evening. Depends where you're at, right? Could be good morning for someone. Happy Friday, David and I. Oh, David's with you. Hey, finally get to catch you live for a change. There you go. So there we are, and it's 92 degrees. Nice interview with Jack. Yeah, that went well with Jack. I think we kind of had a conversation, which I kind of like. When I do these streaming, and whether you call them radio or going, so you're going fishing. Lucky you guys. But yeah, I like it when you do those sort of things and you have a conversation. So it starts off kind of the normal thing, but it ends up a conversation. I always think that's far more interesting and far more enjoyable. So the only thing that's lacking on those is on my end, because I'm the guest. I don't see the chats, so I don't see anything. I even asked him if there was a way on my screen I could see the chat, and I just couldn't find a way to bring it up. 64 where I'm at, Michigan. Good deal. Michigan, the home of Ed Farhart, known as the Sheik, and Sabu, and Rob Van Dam, Battle Creek. Anyhow, but yeah, I enjoy doing those. Jack's always fun to talk to and stuff, so I do 2 or 3 of those with him, it seems, every year. Hey, Steve, how's it going? So that was a good thing. The only blip we had is I'm learning that my overly large feet have a tendency under here to turn things off, which I did towards the end. I accidentally switched everything off with my foot, just moving around. So no chats for me also. So that it makes it a little more difficult. Then he has some pop-up stuff that shows up, and I caught onto that, so I catch a little of what was going on. But it's, you want to kind of be able to interact with what's going on, even though it's his show and he is the host. So, but I like this. I like that. So the worst ones to do, though, probably are when you're just doing the straight telephone interviews, because it's just a person on the other line, and you're trying to be really careful what you say, because you're kind of in a conversation, but you realize you're in a very rigid conversation. A lot can be said about what you're saying. Hey, Attaway girl. And then we have, do you know of any stories of large turtle-shaped heads found in the mountains? People say, well, it's a rock. I mean, why would Okay, my logic says this. If there's a large rock that's shaped like a turtle head, if it's naturally eroded, do they put a mine there because there's a turtle head, or what was the reason behind it? My wife has big feet, like Bigfoot. Well, I have size 13 and a halves. So, and I'm sitting here and I move my feet around. And of course, I'm having to be up close to the mic, and I have a tendency shuffling my feet around, don't realize I'm kicking something, but I'm not really paying attention, and then next thing I know is like everything disappears. So I'm going to come up with repurpose here a little bit, because it's a absolute cluster of cables and boxes and stuff underneath me. So, but usually if I'm working in the studio, see, I'm pulled back. I pull up, do stuff, and then I push back away from there. So because of this, though, with the microphone, I'm pulled in more. So greetings from Youngtown. Is that Youngtown in like Ohio? And good evening. Can we talk about the King's Treasure? Which king? Do you know that dude Taz 11, or is he just a pain? Do I know? That's Blind Bowman. He's okay. I have tiny feet, so you have tiny feet. Whoa, I don't know. Is there a saying goes with that? Big feet, large asshole, tiny feet, warm heart. I don't know. I have no idea. My dad had size 10.5 feet. I was wearing his cowboy boots by the time I was like 12 or 13. So, have you looked into Sage Wall in Montana? No, I haven't got that. I write these things down and keep track of them when I look back at the chat, and then I go out in the files, sometimes pull stuff, but I'm way behind on stuff I pulled that I'm supposed to be looking at. Hey, you're using the new chair. Yes, I am. Here's the problem. Now, everybody pay attention. It goes way back. It's comfortable, but the problem is I can't pull it in too far because of the stuff underneath me, and if I lean back, I get too far from the mic. So, but it is comfortable. We'll see how my butt feels at the end. Let's see. Well, perfect for hiking, though. Yeah, I guess it could be. I can go either way, because I always think the bigger my feet are, the better displacement of your weight and your balance. So I always think in that terms. Sorry, my fingers are like 13 and a half. Okay, that was weird. Taz 11. He'll be along eventually. No comfy chair tonight. I got the comfy chair. It's here. I just can't lean back in it, or I'll disappear. Sorry, just wondering. Sorry, just wondering what? Where did he say that? Do you know that dude? Oh, no, he's cool. I met him before. Okay, we'll go into that in a second. We're Taz. 13, no wonder you're so sure-footed out there. But how's the ass feel? Well, we'll see at the end of the show. That's what I'm waiting to see. If I still need to put a pillow under here for me. So if I appear taller next week, that'll be because I had a pillow underneath me. But we're talking. I met him at the Rendezvous years ago. I have pictures of him. We talked. He was there with Joe Roboto, all these guys. He had his Stone Map Solutions and a bunch of stuff out. And I have pictures of him there. And we met. And I'm not going to go into the whole story, but I was fully well aware of him. He denies we ever met, we've ever spoken. And I'm like, I got pictures of you, dude. I don't know. So, but back then he was always known as Blind Bowman. Now he's Taz. So, who knows? So there you go. Whatever he wants, he's cool. But he's been around a long time, you know. And he's back east. I don't think he's really been out here since then. If he has, it's just only been like one time. Upgrade to... Okay, and the yes, okay, Lacey. You and David will like this. So, what happened was we went to get a new couch. And we're getting a couch. I told Trevor, that chair you use is terrible. Why don't you go pick a new chair, one of those really cool, gaming chairs or something. Get something really comfortable for in the studio, and we'll share it. And I figure, I'm buying the couch, you can buy the chair. And then we'll throw the old chair out. So he's over there, and the salesman actually joked with me. He says, you're going to end up buying a chair. And I said, no. I said, we only have room for one chair. So I'm waiting. I buy the couch. I'm done. I walk over, and Trevor's like going around in 4 or 5 chairs. Can't make up his mind. He's trying to go with price and different things. So finally I say, I've had enough. What chair did you like the most? And he picked this chair, and I said, okay, that's it. And then I walked over, I took the thing, walked over and bought it. And the guy said, see, I told you so. And I told him, F you. And then we get home. And I told Trevor, I said, okay, do me a favor. I bought it. You can use it. Put my chair together for me, So that way, at least I don't have to go through all this stuff. So I go in, and he has the old chair. He won't throw the old chair out. He pushes the old chair where I sit, and he takes the new chair all the time. So I kind of it was kind of a rip-off. We needed a new chair, and rather than me, I bought a new chair. And it was particularly for me, and I figure he can use it. You rarely are both of us in here at the same time, so I figure he can use it. He won't throw the old chair out, and no matter what, I'll have this chair here. The moment he walks in, he switches them back. So I got to get rid of the old chair just to get it out of here. So because if I'm not paying attention, I will sit in the old chair and not even think about it. But the other thing about this chair is weird is when I look down over through the house down here, I'm always trying to figure out who's standing in here because I see this shape. It looks like a person's shape of some sort, and it's because it's white, and I see this kind of white thing in the dark, and it looks like a shadow, so it's kind of odd. But yeah, so I might have to get another chair, and if we get another chair, then I'm going to get a red and black chair for me, and then he can have the black and white chair. So I thought he would pick like the blue and black or red and black, something kind of cool like that. But no, he picked the black and white. So, but it's comfortable. It is comfortable. It's kind of good. It has arms, though. That was the biggest problem we had. We were trying to find something with no arms that was really comfortable because what we wanted is so I could play guitar and do stuff. So if I do get one, I would probably prefer one without arms. So you'll be buying another chair. Yes. So that's generally what happens in my life. It's like I bought myself a chair. And then, that was funny too. He was putting it together and he couldn't get the bolts and stuff. My children are not mechanically inclined. And Trevor was in here for like an hour trying to put these little bolts in the arms to get it in and stuff. And he just could not get that Allen wrench thing and then the bolt to get in and stuff. And it was so funny. And then I came in. And then I sat down and I explained it to him and showed him, this is how you do this. And I did the first three. Boom, 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 boom. And I said, okay, you do the other side. And I handed it to him. I came in an hour later. He was still there, struggling to get the first one in. So I ended up finishing it. So that was the story on that. He'd probably be kind of miffed that I said that. But it's funny because Tyler's a little handier like that. Trevor did build a computer and stuff, but just the mechanically inclined nuts and bolts type of thing. It's funny how they don't have either one of them have that at all. It's kind of strange. And I thought Trevor might kind of have it, but maybe it's just that muscle memory from doing stuff all those years. So there we go. The black and white chair goes good with the guitar themed background. There you go. Would that be the king's chair? I don't know. My other problem is he sits in here so much, and I am a non-cologne aroma type person. Happy Friday to you too. And Frank gave Trevor a cologne that Frank uses, and Trevor will use that. So Trevor sometimes smells like old man, but Trevor will use stuff, and Tyler will use stuff. I am the absence of smell. I might burn sage. I prefer just clean, fresh scent of no scent. And so eventually they get in a chair or something, and it drives me crazy because it smells like, it has a odor smell to it, and I don't like that. So your daughter will inherit the Mustang. I don't know. They've all asked about it. Who knows? Probably the solution to that is in the end, whatever state it's in, finished or not, you just sell it and split the money between them, and they can go their own way. Color goes good with the dogs. Yes, we bought it because of the dogs. We looked and said, let's buy something that matches the dogs. Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late. Well, everybody's pissed at you. Doing well, staying busy. How are you guys? Doing well. Is that a deluxe reverb or blues junior under the fender? Well, I don't know. We could do a reveal. If Trevor was home, we'd do a reveal. He could stand back there and do the reveal. Everyone can guess what kind of amp is under there. You can kind of see on the top of it. It's got that. It's a tweed. Anyways, Yes, I've kept the cover on. It's the only amp I have a cover on, believe it or not. I've never owned an amp cover in my entire life. I don't have covers for the mixing board, which I wish I had one for the mixer, because it's always, you got to keep cleaning it off because it gets all this dust on it. But it's crazy. I've never owned an amp cover, and I love having that because you can just pull it up and it's always clean, and I don't have to. Which, that one wouldn't be so bad. The tough thing is all the black amps, the Marshalls and stuff, because it just, the dust gets on the black and it's hard to keep them clean. All right, so we got to the Mustang, doing well, and I burn sage, and Dave hates it. I like burning sage. What sage does is it gets rid of all the other odors, is what I heard. Well, it has its odor. Looks like a PRS. PRS is in front of me, actually. There's a PRS sitting right here in front of me. I think I showed that before. I have a PRS, and then I have what the belief is now between most people is it is one of the prototypes. It's a number 5 prototype or custom from the early days, because it's a very similar guitar, but it's slightly different, but we've never found a guitar that matches it. What LDM story or notes? You personally put the most, the bark notes. I put a lot into the bark notes, because most everything I've ever looked at, because there's hundreds of letters and material and stuff that back a lot of that up. So there we go. Bobby's talking to somebody else. Any chance you could add the maps when you went over to episode 272 to the website? That is a Trevor thing. Even though I'm going to try to get more adept at this, I've been asking him to do an intro for this, and there's a whole bunch of panel of buttons and things I can click that I can add and do things and put up maps and do stuff, but I don't know how to do it on this system, and he has not taken any time to show me. So I want to put it together so I can do that, have an intro and exit to this and things, and then also like I can put certain things in like a map or something and talk about something specific. So he hasn't had much time. I understand that, but I said, yeah, we got to sit down and just knock this out and have that. That's why hippies love sage. Sage cleanses other smells. Yeah, it gets rid of smells. It's like osium. I thought hippies liked. I love the smell of fresh cut grass. I love that too. My brother does too. His name's Ken. My brother and I will talk for a half hour about fresh cut grass. We'll sit there and he'll, oh, I'm going to mow tomorrow. And it's like, yeah, we get off on mowing and like the grass. And I like that. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than after you mow the grass and everything's done, and you go out and you have a cigarette and just smell the fresh cut grass. That's that is like insane, but it's just, yeah, he talks about it too. So yeah, my brother Ken, and we have Andrew and I talk about sports. Kevin and I talk about music, and Ken and I talk about mowing the grass. So, any words on... I don't know the date. They said high clearance and 4-wheel drive by the end of this year. And then they're going to try to get the funding for another project to open it and do the rest. Right now, they're going through... There's backhoes and some equipment there. Someone gave me the heads up. Several people have given me heads up and stuff. A couple of people sent me pictures. So it looks like Fish Creek Hill will be open soon. How about the smell of gasoline? That's strange because that reminds me of my grandpa. What's your take on Terry Carter? I love Terry Carter. He's my buddy, man. He's the man. Me and Terry, man. He is the nicest guy. I don't care about the content of his channel and some of the wild stuff and all. I love Terry to death. He is a very sweet person. He is a really nice person. He's fun to be around. And it's just like when I see Terry, he's one of those guys when you're around, you know, those people that come around and then you just smile and just have a good time. And you're just very likable. So His content sometimes is hard for me to digest. I think it's hard for him sometimes to digest. But I know what Terry's into and stuff, and we've had a few conversations on that, on the personal side. But no, Terry's a really awesome dude, man. And I think he's one of the links. If you're on our YouTube and stuff, one of the few channels we link to is Terry's, because he's a real stand-up guy. Fresh bloomed lilacs over grass. I don't know. I don't know about lilacs over grass. I do have, what is that out there I got? It's jasmine. I got jasmine. So right now I'll mow the grass tomorrow and I'll smell fresh grass and the jasmine all bloomed. It's just like crazy. Like you can't even walk up within 30 feet of it and smell the jasmine out front. I put that there because I like that smell. It's a bit overpowering right now, but that's a good smell. And then I have a lot of mint in there with it. It was supposed to mitigate the ants and bugs and stuff, or flies and things, but it seems to attract a lot of wasps. My grandpa used to wash his truck every day, and a little gasoline in the dish soap for shine. Then he threw a cigarette out one day, and poof. Tom Van's speech at the rendezvous got pretty far out also. Tom's cool. Yeah, the UFO and Bigfoot stuff sort of discredits any other things he talks about. People believe what people believe. I make myself pretty well known where my stance is. I have a couple fun stories about Tom, but we'll leave that for right now. But we are on the smell of gasoline. That's my grandfather, because everything he did, he washed himself up with gas in the garage. It didn't matter what it was, cleaning the tractor blades, this and that. It was just washed with gas. Everything was soaking in gas. It was so. When I think of that, I think of Ohio, in Richmond, Ohio, down at their place, the acreage there, and I think of my grandpa. That's the smell of gas. So if I'm out there working on the mower, working on something, I have to use gas to clean something. That reminds me of my grandpa. So. I have a wisteria. Smells amazing. So if you hold Jim Bark for such high regard, then you think he knew things. Yeah, yes. I've always said that the actual notes, okay, the Bark notes are a manuscript of something he was writing, probably for family. It may not have been for publication, which is why he never even tried to publish it. The family, which is the Spangler family, hold all those notes and all his stuff. We have the Ely side of the letters. We don't have Jim Bark's side of stuff. The family still has all his material, which would include the 30 questions he asked Julian Reinhardt. That was confirmed that the family still has the original questions and the answers to that. We've never seen that. It's never been published. It's never been open. I've always tried to talk to members of that family to say, hey, and I got confirmation of a couple things, but nothing about them. So it was just confirmation. Does the family really hold a lot of that material? Do they have certain pieces of material everybody be really interested? Yes. Far as I know, I've never heard anybody say any of them have been out in the mountains searching or anything. So they are definitely on the low, and I respect it. And I've just, the few people from that family that I've met, which it's nothing in the core of it, but some people have that family name, I've just been very cool to, hoping that one day maybe I would get to see something to say, yes, I saw it. All right. Love Terry, awesome guy. He has a great info. They don't realize it. I think he's entertaining, and entertaining means a lot. You think there are Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon? No. Yep, there have been 1,000,000 times Jefferson County Fair. Oh, okay. So you know Richmond, Ohio. Yeah. Did you live in Richmond, Ohio? And when were you there? Because this could get interesting if you've been there 1,000,000 times. We're talking to Bigfoot. He came from Ohio. Funny stuff. And they came out in the 40s. I don't know about that. Okay, so basically they hold the key, just keeping it there in their pocket. Yeah, for whatever reason. Have you ever just run across a giant nugget? Not me. I've met people that have had some really big nuggets. See, this is where that little pop-out would come out, where I could go to the photos and show you one that was probably filled the most of a palm of a hand. And the first guy that passed it up thought it was a tin can, an old rusty can or something like that. And he passed it by. And the second guy decided to dig the can up and dispose of it so they'd quit hitting the can. And it turned out to be the nugget. Do you think Jacob had 2 holes in the ground? He had the Peralta hole. One description is there was a hole that was started and then the one that actually had the mine. Every year, bro. Every year. So what year? I mean, come on, Ken. What year was the first year you were in Richmond, Ohio? Need an age. Did you know Boney Johnson? There, we'll just say that. Did you know Boney Johnson? Because he was man of the year. He was a little of everything. That was his hometown. He was hometown hero in there. So Steubenville, down the road, home of Wintersville Friendship, 1976. Wintersville, that's where my other grandparents lived, in Wintersville. Their house was... Oh, someone just rang the doorbell. But my other grandparents, my paternal grandparents, lived in Wintersville, on the hill there where the freeway took out their place. Okay, guys, you're redlining me. Okay, but yes, it was Richmond, and then East Springfield's where my aunt lived. And I had an aunt and cousins out there in East Springfield. My dad grew up in West Virginia. I forgot the name of the town. Birchfield, West Virginia. I can't answer the door, whoever it is. Oh my gosh. That's not the way this works. So, if I have to get up from this and go answer the door, I'm firing somebody or slapping somebody hard. Anyhow, where was I on all that? But my dad was in Steubenville, which was home of Dean Martin, Jimmy the Greek, Raleigh Fingers, and a lot of notable people. Dean Martin might have been the most famous out of there. Anyways, out of Steubenville. Then he moved to Steubenville when he was in high school. Okay, so somebody's at the front door, and they were not giving it up. I haven't seen anybody go up or leave. So that's what's crazy. Okay, we're going to hear... It's Steve. Or Ted. I'm sorry. So Ted. Hey, Ted, are you still there? Nope, I don't think he is. I don't know how to do... Oh, I have to go back to do this. I'm doing a live stream podcast. The phone ringer and everything's turned off and it still comes through. Okay, he's trying to hand me paperwork for a business corporation of which I'm the president, and he thinks it's important to talk to me. So I'm going to have to tell him. See if he's still there at the door. We'll talk to him. Nope, he's gone. And I didn't see him leave either. That's crazy. So he's like a Jedi. That was crazy. Okay. So anyways, now I got to catch... Oh, I didn't have to catch up much. If Waltz came from the north. Well, we don't... I mean, that's why I would love to see that material from the Spangler family, to see what he really said, directions and all. Small world, my friend. Work at concessions, always the affairs. Oh, that's pretty cool. West Virginia, almost heaven. It's a process. It's a process server. No, it's Ted. Yeah, I didn't see Ted walk up. Then I kept glancing, never saw Ted walk away. But I saw Ted was at the door, and Ted's not there no more. Who knows what happened to Ted? Ted's missing. Walt's first trip came in from the north, probably, possibly. And I don't think we know. I don't think he would have come in from different directions, and some of the stuff we're told. We're still part of Mingo Junction. No, Mingo Junction. My cousins went to Mingo Junction. What concessions I used to go to the West Virginia Fair. Yeah, we're going to get into this conversation. That whole town. Yeah, we used to go to Beatty Park all the time in Steubenville, and that was where the family reunions were held. And then we went up and messed around and played around and dodged around in the cemetery up there through there. So, but Steubenville, yeah, and Richmond and Wintersville and all that. So yeah, I had a lot of family, both sides of the family, all through there. My mom's side of the family was all spread out through there. Yeah, I spent a lot of summers back there. Lightning bugs and all that, and rain and thunderstorms. I think women keep secrets way better than men and longer. I think you should always look into the stories of the women. Julia was the one that told everybody everything, though. That actually goes the opposite. Julia actually would talk about it. Reinhardt was very close-lipped, only talked to a few people. Okay, well, I got to take the phone call. Yeah, we'll just kind of let Ted. Hey, Ted.
Wayne, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I do a live podcast every Friday.
Uh-oh.
And right now you're live on the podcast with the public. So
How's everybody doing today?
I think they're all doing just fine. We were talking and they're very aware well that Ted was at my front door. But I couldn't interrupt the live stream, so because they all wait with bated breath for me to speak every Friday. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to make sure that I got the right address.
It was the right address. I tried to catch you while you were still at the front door, but I didn't. So I'll catch you later, Ted. Thank you very much, though.
I'm actually here still. I didn't leave. So I just looked at your front door with the board packs.
Okay. Yeah, just there's that table there with a big piece of iron ore. Put it under that, and that's fine.
All right, Wayne. Hey, I appreciate it, and tell your audience thank you.
Lacey said, "Hey, Ted, hey." And okay, I don't know what they're talking about otherwise. So one person paid attention to you. But all right, you have a good weekend. I'll talk to you later, Ted.
All right, Wayne. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Okay. Well, you got in there late for to say hi, Ted. It's pretty funny. I don't know if everybody heard that, but he's sitting out front in his car, so he wasn't going to leave till he made sure that I was going to get the information he was leaving for me, the legal stuff and all, which is not, I'm not being served. It's not profit. Oh, here he comes again. There he goes. He's going up to the door now to leave. See, he didn't want to leave the material until he was sure I was home and that I knew it was there and all so forth. That's, kind of legal stuff. They want you to physically have it or whatnot, and I'll get it later. It's not a big deal. Okay, I got my first pinpointer. Cool. Pinpointer is good. Always remember, out in the mountains out here, it'll pick up anything with iron, so it'll pick up hot rocks like crazy. Works great in dirt. Other fries. I never knew about that. All right. Opinion on Arizona Trail being the only military. No, I don't think so. Military trail. Every time I've heard a number of different military stories, and they took different routes through the mountains. I think it depended on the scout or who had been through, and they followed certain paths. So I think they just kind of followed the path of least resistance, and then maybe something eventually might have become more known, but each person has a different route. I mean, there's how many different, even today I can tell you, even though there's trails, there's certain places you go in the mountains and everybody has a different way to get there. So there you go. What adventures do you plan for 2024? I don't know yet. Kind of working it out. I've seen people, if I was Mayo, I tried that. It was okay one time, and then after that, it didn't seem to be the same. You gotta love the live stuff. Just howdy, everybody. And there's Bobby again. Bobby popped up again. Herman, Petrash, and Waltz had two mines. One called the Placer and one called the Quartz, according to Mary Bagwell. I don't know. I'd have to look at the article again. I know Herman said that there was the silver mines in Hewitt and the Eastern Superstitions, but the Peralta mines, the gold mines of Waltz, were in the Western Superstitions. He's very, very specific about that. And I think he says there's 7 or 9 mines, which would have been close to probably whatever Reinhardt and Julia were told by Waltz. What do you think is the most important Dutchman clue is? I started in 76. Dutchman clue. Most important Dutchman clue. I think it's the shape of the mine, because it's the one thing people get wrong and always try to argue with. I don't care who they are, what they are. It's very specific, and it's laid out. And Waltz felt that because of it, that was the one thing that we get a hard description on: the mine, the shape, and the vein. And he's very, very descriptive because it was so unusual to him, different from then just a vertical shaft or something like that. It was different. It was unique. And people always change that. It's filtered to come out so many different ways. I always try to tell people that this Silver Chief, and who knows what it looked like originally. Silver Chief was a vertical shaft. It was nothing like what the Dutchman is described of. But that could be because of all the work had been done to it. But it went quite deep, and Waltz's is very different description. And it's an inclined funnel shape. I'll have to, you know what? Trevor and I need to take something and do a mock-up of literally the Bark reference. Because Bark put in stuff that I think was really good information in the Bark notes. But I think he did it because unless you're at the mine, it didn't matter. So it doesn't matter, because you'd have to have found the mine to see that description and understand that you're there. So he's not giving you a lot of clues. You take the board house. Board house, it depends, because there's the board house, there's the Quarter Circle U Ranch, which is where Matt Cavaniss' wife and children were. Which is mentioned. There was also the Goat Ranch, or the Milk Ranch, which was part of Matt Cavaniss' property. That's gone, which was east of there. And then there's also the Dairy Ranch that was down in Hewitt, which people think that's the one. So starts becoming take your pick. The Cavaniss one makes the most sense and the Quarter Circle U in that area, because it fits everything. You can see it when you're in the mountains. You can see it. There's a high points in a number of places in the mountains you can see it from. There was a woman and children there, which seemed unusual because I think Matt Cavaniss and his wife, I think her name's Alice, they got divorced, and she was out there alone with the kids and stuff. So that to me, but they had the goats, and they had the dairy and the goats and this and that and stuff. And everybody, that's another one of those things that everybody reinterprets. But if you take each story, individual stories, it kind of works and fits. Some of the other stories, it just doesn't work if it's down in Hewitt and other places. And we went out, and I know I went out with a couple people. We looked for the second place, but I'd been told that there's nothing remaining. But for over the years with the ranch, there's nothing that would give you any evidence where it was, because between there and the eastern corrals, before you go back into the wilderness area, there's been so much activity and things done that between the two things, it just doesn't, it's just what it is. See, my foot's on that stupid thing, but I made it there. Okay. Waltz mine would be a cool at the museum. Yeah, but that would mean they would have to do something Lost Dutchman. Must have been on a serious fault. It was a surface thing. Who knows how far it would have went before it played out? Because remember, the Peraltas had been working it, and then they got pushed out, and it didn't seem to be that far down in. I love the Legend of Superstitions chat and channel. I've been on a day, see through the years. When I see your videos, I'm able to visit again and spend some time. Oh, there you go. Have you hiked around Estrella Mountains? Yes, I spent a lot of time in the Estrella Mountains, up by some of the old silver mines and some of that stuff, and down by Montezuma's Head and all that. Thought the Dutchman mine was found. It's always been found. There's been hundreds, if not 1,000 people have found it. It's a way to sell a book, sell a lecture, sell this, sell that. I've never, everything ever been presented, I've never found anything that made me feel conclusive about it. And I've visited most of those sites. If someone tells me where they think they found the Dutchman and I get an exact spot, I go out and check and I test and I do what I go look at it and see if, hey, did they really find something? And, okay. The Milk Ranch was stone, though, right? The board house was built, it was kind of a line shack, and there is a stone house right next to the Quarter Circle U. And that's one of the oldest structures there. So Cavanius's family may have been living in that. There's a stone house out by the corrals. I don't know if you've been out there, but it's to the southeast side of the corrals, and it's full of snakes and rats. So you probably should stay out. I got pictures somewhere of all that. Path of least resistance. My thought to the hikes and going out those paths. Do you spend your time in the mountains mostly off trails? Yes, I'd spend. Consider me a back road traveler. So I use the highway to get to the road, which is the main trail. And then I just veer off and then look at different ways to get places in the mountains. So I like spending time off trail and bushwhacking and looking for alternatives. I found some pretty cool things. You find some old trails because of that. And I just like being off that beaten path, not knowing if someone's been that way. And then sometimes it's not disappointing, but it's kind of like interesting when I realize someone else has been through there, had the same like-minded thought, or maybe there was a reason someone was through here. So yeah, I spend a lot more time off the trail. I just use the trail to kind of like get myself into a certain point, and then off the trail I go. And I like being off the trail because I just can wander. And it's not good if something happens to you because you're just all over the place. Okay. I don't miss the Rattlers. Things are good. Wanted to head to Arizona. Okay. Lacey and David are going fishing, and Lacey's doing all the talking today. Off trail is the only way. Yes, Bobby. It's not the only way. I mean, it's good. We did the Garden Valley hike. That really, I think, went well, and people get to see from the perspective. And we got off the trail a little bit, very little, but just a touch. But it's good for people for familiarity. I think if people are very, very familiar with the trails and get that down, it helps. You're never lost if you know that you can go a certain direction. If you recognize the mountains and the trails, you can always cross a trail and get yourself out. Kind of feel that the entrance is collapsed. Now, they said they covered it. So Walt said he covered it. Exploring off trail is best. Trails have changed over the years. The hiking trail, yeah, the trails have definitely changed. First Water, when I was a kid, was still a road. And it is now a trail. It's up higher above the road. But there was a road that went in from where the parking lot is. That was a road to the First Water Ranch, and then the road went up around the hill up to Garden Valley, and then it continued out to Cholla Tank, if you know where that's at, through Second Water. And then the other road branched off and went down to Brush Corral Basin, and it ended there, but it ended at the bottom. That's why the hill there is called Transmission Gap. Excuse me. But yeah, you go down to Blacktop and Palomino, and the road used to go there. There's a man named John Pierce that wanted to have someone be allowed to continue the road down between Palomino and Blacktop because he had a silica mine down there, and he wanted to haul stuff out because it wasn't going to be as profitable to haul it out by burro and stuff. So that was that. I'll follow you. Go first. Brush Corral Basin. Wasn't there an arrastra? There's several. Yeah, there's been talk of different arrastras in the area. I know Brownie Holmes found one. He said was there. I found a lot of interesting things too. It's a very flat and very dirt, sandy kind of bottom. So who knows what could be under it, because everything from all four sides is washing down into that area. So there could be a lot that's under there. It's one of those few places. In Arizona, most of the time, everything comes to the surface. You'll find, good rainstorm. You'll find arrowheads, pottery shards. You'll find all kinds of stuff, coins. You can find things on the surface because the heavier things come to the surface. That would be an area where I would say there could be a lot underground there because it's just that dirt. It's a whole different kind of thing now. Garden Valley, a little different. Everything comes to the surface there because the erosion, because it's slowly probably lowering itself as everything erodes off. You only have the hills to the north and the Black Mesa over there eroding slowly into it, but it's probably slowly changing. So it's, you have to look at the geography and the geology of how that goes. Brush Corral Basin wasn't there on restaurant. We're still there, okay. And then thanks Terrence. So, because Terrence said they change over the years. But yeah, they have changed. A lot of the trails were roads for the ranchers. And when the ranchers pulled out, when they pushed the Barclays out of the wilderness area in the end, there's two first water ranches. There's one, if you're up at the horse trail parking lot and you go out, just leave the horse trail parking lot and there's a little road that's blocked off that used to go up over the hill. If you take that road to your left, it'll take you down and then you'll end up with a bunch of cement foundations and a whole corral and everything down there. It's in pretty decent shape. That was the second version of First Water Ranch. And there you go. Cowboy named Robles saw Walt's climbing coffee fly. I knew the Robles family, and there was also Robles that was on the search for Madoff Ruth. The Robles family is out of Superior. I tried to talk to a number of them, see if I could get any stories or confirmation of those stories about Robles. I think it's Jose. Is it Jose or Juan Robles? Anyways, not the guy I knew, but where the original stories came from. And the Robles were still, there's members of the family still down there. And nobody had anything like to hang the hat on. It was just kind of like, well, we're very aware of some of this information and stuff. And I've heard, as you know, and the family has been into mining and cowboying. They've been ranchers and cowboys forever. So because of that, it could be a very real story. It's just the family. It's an odd thing. Sometimes the families, these stories that we take a great deal of interest, weren't as much interest in the family. Has anyone ever found any cool air vents out in the mountains? Yes, I have. A lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool vents. It's really neat because you got lava tubes and all kinds of stuff. Sometimes you find smaller openings, and it's just, you'll find, you can tell sometimes if they're interesting, but the worst ones are the ones you can't get in. Nobody can fit in, and you feel the air, and you wonder where it could be venting from. And you don't, and you search the area and you can't, but there's no way to get in it. And they usually are like kind of like weird tunnels, the way they work their way around. So you can't really explore anything, and you don't want to lose a camera in them. But some of them you go in, and it's definitely interesting. They open up and all. There's particularly very interesting places that were used for storage and probably used for purpose at one time or another. What's your favorite canyon to hike in the Superstitions? What's my favorite canyon? Greetings from Blackwater. Hey, down in Blackwater. You got some Budweiser? So when, if 88 opens, will you and Frank head back down there? We'll call and let you know. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Lisa. How's it going, Lisa? Well, the Schmabakin has shown up. Okay. One of my former employees up in Oregon. Right? You're up in Oregon. That's right. 64 degrees here in Sandy Hook, Kentucky. Massacre Falls is one of my favorites. I'm thinking... I'm trying to think of what my favorite place in the mountains, canyon to walk in, because there's so many that I like for so many different reasons. Because there's the memory side of things that I really like. Like because Needle Canyon was one when I was young that I spent so much time in. There's kind of an attachment to certain parts of it. Canyon de Fresco up on Bluff Springs kind of does that to me. Haunted Canyon I love. I think Haunted Canyon through there is beautiful. That's a hard question for me because I would keep going through and thinking, well, you know, I really like this place. I would say I like Boulder Canyon. I'm not sure if LaBarge would be on the favorite list. I'd probably just go with just the old memory just of Needle Canyon because there's so many trips and there's so many people I've been through there with, even though it looks different to my eyes today than it did when I was young. Let's face it, I'm not a spring chicken, but at the same time, it's amazing that over 50 years, how much things have changed back in the mountains. And yeah, that's just it's crazy to me because I can close my eyes back in there and picture things, open my eyes, and it's so different. It was much it was clear in some senses, but at the other time it was more overgrown. There was more cattle in there. There was more water in there. It's just a lot's changed. Now the fires recently also changed a lot too. So a lot of things have changed. God, favorite canyon. It is such a good question. I'd have to think, because it's like saying particular spot, and there's so many different spots that I really, really, really enjoy. You spend out nights in the mountains, I think would freak me out. I like to spend nights in the mountains. I like to spend nights more by myself than with anyone else because I like the solitude and quiet. It's something different. I've talked about this before, is those of us have done it kind of don't know how to explain it, but it's different. The first time you do it, it's different. Definitely when you're off trail and in the middle of nowhere and you're like, man, maybe this was a bad idea. And it can be a very long night. To me, it's just kind of like peaceful. There's just, you get a night where there's no, you see, you go out in the woods, up in the forest and stuff, and the wind gets in the trees, and you have noise, and it kind of lulls you to sleep. You get out in the desert, and it's just dead quiet. And there's nights where we all have tinnitus to some degree, a little ringing in the ears. The ears sound like a church bell's going off because it's so damn quiet. And I really like that because it's we don't live in a world where it's ever that quiet. We can use noise canceling headphones and stuff, but naturally quiet. So when I'm up in the mountains, to have pitch black dark and that kind of quiet is so cool because we don't get a sense of it. It's what our ancestors, so many people, had to live with. And it changes you early as you do it. I think it's thought the ringing was from the fireball. It can be, but it's something I think all people need. It does change your mindset because eventually you realize, oh well, if something's going to come and kill me while I'm sleeping, I'm dead. So does it really matter? And you get over it and you sleep some of the best sleep you've ever slept. You wake up, the sun comes up, you feel it, and you wake up. It's just so cool. I don't know. But I do, if I get the chance, I love to do that more than anything else. Nobody likes to go out with me in the mountains because I snore so loud. So it does keep the mountain lions away. But yes, I can be quite loud at night. And because of that, that's going to be very difficult for any camp mates. You will be wide awake all night dealing with that crap. Howdy, Wayne. What are the chances you knew this old-time Dutcher Wild Bill? There was a lot of... I think you asked me that before somewhere else about it. I think we talked about it. There was a lot of people named Wild Bill. I had an uncle named... He was Wild Bill. Wild Bill. Like, if your name's Bill, you become Wild Bill. Trevor is the loudest snore. He is loud, but I can beat him. Trust me. But he's not home. Poor kid. I kind of beaten up on him a little tonight. But I'll go in the one bathroom and I'll sit there and go like, what's that noise? It's him snoring through a couple walls. So his brother gets pissed and starts hitting him with things in his sleep because he gets that loud. But oh no, I can scare the neighbors. But yeah, that's a difficulty for different people and all. And it's just, hey, it is what it is, Doesn't bother me. I sleep through it. I don't wake myself up. Always place a hemp rope around your sleeping bag. Because you get older and you're back and you stiffen up and it's more difficult, I've found if you're in the mountains, it's easier just to take like a blanket or something and not, you can bring a sleeping bag still, but just prop yourself on a rock that's got a slant, like a backing, like a chair leaned back, and put your pack behind your head and give yourself something to lay on and kind of keep yourself slightly elevated and sleep, you will be so much more comfortable. I sleep really good like that if I'm back in the backcountry. I'm laying down, I'm always sore the next day. Everything hurts. I can't get comfortable. So David's bad too. Okay. I do that during tornadoes. Just go to bed and listen. Strapped to my mattress somewhere in Kansas. You know what's funny about all that is there's this weird thing, like you start watching something and something random shows up, and I'm originally from Illinois and we had a cellar, but I've never really dealt with a volcano. Well, neither that either. I've never dealt with a tornado, and though my brother does, and other people, I know a lot of people here probably do, but I have no idea. But for about a week, I was obsessed with anything of a tornado video. There was this one where it goes over this train, and they go right through the tornado. The tornado goes right through the train, and it flips a bunch of the cars and stuff. Fast, and just the noises, like that, the high-pitched noises and stuff, like the screams and stuff that are in it, it just blew my mind. So I had a week where I had to watch every like tornado video of like stuff getting blown to shit, and I'm realizing, it's scary. It's got to be scary as crap for people. But no, I was totally like, I got to see tornado stuff. And of course, once you start looking at it, your phone, everything it's just sending you tornado stuff. So there you go. Ever witnessed a little person in the mountains? Trevor, when he was younger. No, I've never seen a midget or a dwarf or one of the tiny people or a pygmy. Nope, never seen anything like that. Strapped to a mattress in Kansas. If you ever worry about snake curling up in sleeping bag on cool nights. Never had that problem. I've never had a snake try to get into the tent. I've never tried to get in anything. I don't think I've ever heard of it. It's like something you see in a movie or TV show. I don't think I've ever heard of that in real life. And I'm sure it has to have happened. But no, all the people I've known and all the times in the mountains and stuff, rarely did you ever too often get a snake in camp, close to the camp and stuff. Can't think of ever. The only time I can remember anywhere near a fire in the whole thing is when we were filming Legend of the Superstition Mountains. We're down in Hewitt. It was when we make that first camp. And it's me, Frank, Woody, DeLille, and Magnuson sitting one side, and the entire crew is across from us. And there's a fire, and I'm rolling a cigarette. And I kind of like they're filming us, and everybody was like telling a story or something, and we're talking. It was the time when I wish I would have brought a harmonica, because I think it would have lent flavor to it. They wanted me to have a guitar. I said no. Guitar magically appears out of a bag. Anyways, we're sitting there, and I remember I just, under my breath, barely moving my lips, rolling a cigarette, said, "There's a snake passing right behind you guys while you're filming." So everybody just kind of holds till we get through, because everybody has an earpiece in and can hear us on the microphones. And I watched it go round behind their feet and through a couple feet and out the other side and up. And I couldn't see where it went, because once it got to a certain point, I just lost it in the light. We didn't stop filming at all. That's one of the few times I've ever seen that, because they're generally not attracted to the fire or anything. So there you go. Little people here in Oklahoma. Little people. Okay. If you could talk to one person in the history of the Lost Dutchman other than Jacob Waltz, who would it be? Reinhard Petrasch. I would talk to Reinhard Petrasch. He was there. He was around Julia when Julia talked to Waltz. He was alone with Waltz. He spent time. I think Waltz, would I trust what Julia said or what? I've heard she had the gift for gab a bit and all. I think Reinhardt, from what you can tell, so few people ever spoke to him, and he gave so few of interviews. There's so little information directly from him. I think he'd be the person I want to talk. And one person I talked to that knew of Reinhardt didn't have much to say. He just said, I remember him in Globe. And if someone got him talking about anything to do with the Dutchman or the Superstitions, he would start to speak, and someone would, you always got that yokel that has to sit there and go, well, isn't this true though? And as soon as someone would do that and like act like they knew more or they'd heard something different, he would just stop, and that would be the end of it. So I always took it as he knew what he was talking about. He didn't have patience for stuff like that. And that's why we have so little information to him, because people have a habit of interrupting and saying, well, you got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Let the man talk. And I don't think people appreciated it then. So that would be the one person, Reinhardt Petrash. If I had to go number 2, it would be Jim Bark, who talked to Julia and Reinhardt and everyone. I don't think he was as familiar with the mountains as Sim Zealy was, but he was pretty familiar, and I think he would have been able to kind of give you pretty much everything they talked about. But there's things we would ask now that they never thought of talking about, because we have the ability to have all this history and time on our side to ask certain specific questions. But I'd want them just to talk, you know. The Peralta family is the problem is, remember, there's a massacre and there's only a few people left, and you got to find the right Peraltas in the right place. So Rispe is the place to probably start, and it seems like there's a huge disconnect between the group before Waltz and the group after Waltz. There might have been a few people, so you got to find that right person. So I was taking this as the question is, if it's the one person you could guarantee to talk in history, it would be Reinhardt Petrash, because he heard what Waltz said. He heard what Waltz told the story. He hung around Waltz, and Waltz told him other stories. So you would get a lot more history and a lot more depth out of it. And Julie even said that she would hear Waltz yelling at Reinhardt, you're not paying attention, you're going to be sorry when I'm gone, and start working on him again, talking to him about things. So who knows how much he told Reinhardt. I've stood on snakes. One guy beside me the whole time. He was chill, just stayed there, looked at me, and then slithered off. The old timers are still like that today. Imagine running mouth around Clay worse. Clay's pretty good about it. People will interrupt Clay, and Clay will answer their questions and then try to remember where he's at and continue. Clay is actually very much a gentleman. He will tolerate that. And I find it a shame, because sometimes Clay's saying something and they'll try to correct him and stuff. Let him talk. He stepped on a snake. Mike McChesney, who's not with us today, but Mike will tell you it's like stepping on a water balloon, and I've stepped on them before, and usually they freak out heavily because they didn't expect you to miss them. Usually they rattle and let you know. Sometimes the younger ones just stay very still and hope you miss them, and then they totally panic because you step on them. I stepped on one in bare feet down in Maricopa once. I was up and it was early in the morning, and I didn't have shoes on, and I don't know why I was running around without shoes in the desert. It was out by our line cabin in Maricopa, and I'm out there with bare feet. And I was kind of watching where my feet were, because I didn't want to mess up my feet, and I saw my foot go down and saw the head, and I stepped right beside the head, and the snake just freaked out. And I was probably 10 or 11. So, and then my dad got a shovel, and that was it. He was a headless snake after that. And it's a shame. People forget, and sometimes it happens, I'm in Washington. That's right, not Oregon, Washington. Okay, you're outside of Seattle, not Portland. Or did you move to Washington? I don't know. I don't know. I thought... you guys were in one of the two places. Okay. I hope you and Nakia and Sean, we don't want to leave Sean out, are all doing just fine, because I wouldn't want Sean to cry tonight because I forgot to mention him. Curious, and I wonder when the last Apache tribe left the area. Well, I don't think they were ensconced in there too much. I think they were out of the Superstitions. I think they were in and out, and they would have temporary camps and stuff. I don't know how sustainable it was. I think they were trying to hide out in there a bit when everybody was being thrown out into the reservations. And I think they had ceremonial areas, and there was burial grounds. They would do burials. It's not like grounds like you find burials everywhere, but they would find places and bury people, try to where nobody would bother them, which we're finding everybody's going to eventually be everywhere. So that's less and less places. But yeah, I don't think it was like there wasn't like huge enclaves of the Apaches and stuff in the Superstitions. Let's see. Good night, everybody. Have a beautiful evening and weekend. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Tacos, 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 tacos. And enchiladas, enchiladas, tostadas, and carnitas. And you should throw in an enchilada, and you should throw in a chimichanga, and you should throw in lots of chips, and it should be a lot of Mexican food. Cinco de Mayo, which is not celebrated in Mexico, but it is a huge deal in Arizona. I'm sure it is in California and New Mexico. I'm pretty sure it's spread everywhere else, but yeah, here, yeah. So yeah, get your Mexican food on. Does anyone carry a snake bite kit along with the sidearm? I have an old one. It's on a shelf somewhere. One of those old ones. Remember, they were in they were like olive green, like a little cylinder thing, the plastic thing that came apart. I don't know. You can do yourself so much damage messing with that stuff too. You just want to get someone, just try to keep the venom from flowing too many body parts, and just get someone in where they can get the anti-venom and treat them because of the nerve damage. I have a pet corn snake, cool laid back animal. Can anyone carry a snake? Okay. Thanks, Wayne. Gotta go out to put little one to bed. All right, Mitch, put the little one to bed and hope they have sweet dreams. What do you think of the Concho area, St. John's? Haven't spent a lot of time up in there. I had an uncle that was up in there, so, but didn't spend much time. He was out there. I know it was flat, and he complained there wasn't many trees. I know there's trees in some areas. The area he was had no trees. Watch where you buy. Frank's sidearm is a snake bite kit. You'll find out what your real friends are if you get bit on the butt. I'd rather take a no snake bite kit. Yeah, Kim, I'll save the story of Frank. Frank with the elephant gun for when next time you and I see him, and Frank can explain it. I think it's on film. So actually I will contact the filmmakers, and if they have Frank on film with the elephant gun, we will try to get Frank to guest and do a reel of some fun things with Frank. So there you go. So we're losing some people because it's getting later, and people are going to bed. People are getting dinner. I'm getting hungry. I don't know about you, but it's getting close to dinner time. I got a few things to do before I wrap up. Tonight is not pizza. It's not pizza night. Tonight is Chinese night. We're going East Asia. So I really do like Chinese food. So I'm going to get myself some Chinese food tonight. But thank you, everybody, for coming out. There's too many of you. Do say thank you, too. Thank you to Ted for making a guest appearance tonight. I guess that counts as a guest, doesn't it? He was on the phone with me, right? You guys didn't see him, but he was here. Have a great weekend. Yeah, and thank you, everybody. I think we've gotten the mic issues solved because nobody's complained about the volume or being able to hear me anymore. So it sounds like the volume issues have been completely solved and all that. We will get on the lighting issues eventually. Maybe I just need to buy a whole new freaking house and do that. Have a great weekend. Or I need to buy one of them lights that puts the little circles in my eyes, because that always looks good when you look alien. But thank you, everybody. I hope everybody has a great, wonderful week. Catch Chasing Legends every Monday. Thank you, because we've been knocking them out and rocking them. The Lost Cowboy mine didn't do as good as the last 3 or 4, but they've been hitting pretty good. I'm going to try to find something this week that is a bit interesting and off the beaten path. Thanks, Ken. Yeah, the old Ohio days. Thanks once again, Wayne. Special props to Mrs. Tuttle for putting up with us. Never hears you guys. Off somewhere else. Unless she is off getting Trevor. I don't know. The only people I see around here during this time period are the dogs. And they didn't even come in. They came in when we first started, and then they left. I'm looking. Yeah, they're laying down in the other room. So everybody could be actually sleeping right now. I might be the only person awake in the house. So there you go. And nobody can hear really what I'm talking about in this end of the house, at the far end of the house. So how many holes have you dug in the mountains, Wayne? I don't know. Hundreds. How many holes have I dug for other people in the mountains? Hundreds. Less for myself, but hundreds for other people. But I've dug a few. I could have dug about 100 or so on my own, samples and different things. But for other people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So very cool to see Lisa. So Lisa, Nakia, Sean, I don't know if any of you guys are listening. I hope you guys are all well up there. Such a cool thing, you know. You guys, I'm glad you guys are doing really well. We do miss you guys, though. Seriously, always will miss you guys. You guys were awesome people to work with and everything. So I do miss you guys, and I do tell people that. So you can ask Tamia and anybody else, and they will say I still let them know that. Yeah, I miss you guys. So it's it was kind of a sad day when you guys. I'm happy for you guys. I'm very happy for you guys, but it was sad for me. So there, everybody have a good weekend. But it was nice to see. We got Ted, we got Lisa from up there. We didn't get the people from Australia and Ireland today. We've lost our international audience, but we've gained some other people, but that's cool. And Ken from the Ohio days and stuff like that. And Bobby from Illinois. There you go. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for Arthur and Ed and Bobby. And Bobby keeps saying to see you all soon. So I think if he says he sees us all soon and he keeps saying it, eventually it has to happen. So there you go. Sup, everybody. And it just shows up right at the end as we're saying goodbye. It starts at 4. It is now 5:10. It's been 70 minutes later. You showed up. I'm sorry. It's just time for us to go because we all have dinners to go. We all have things to do. And I will say this. I think I'm going to be able to stand up at the end of this and be just fine. I am not feeling it in my butt. So and that came off. If not, out of context, that sounded really bad. The seat did improve my being able to sit here and not move around and stuff. So there we go. So better hurry up before. All right. So there you go, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to see everybody later. Catch us again. And on Monday for Chasing Legends, we'll see you next Friday for the Live Legends. Until then, take care.